We're Hassani and Danielle Pettiford, and we're a real couple with real problems who almost called it quits.
I was very frustrated. I became very disconnected, very jaded and cold.
We have 4 children, going on 20 years of marriage, and we practice what we preach.
Our mission, to change the way couples relate to one another and teach them the skills needed to improve the quality of their relationships. This is the Couples Academy Show.
Well, welcome everyone to the Couples Academy Show. It's Monday morning. I hope you had an amazing weekend. Listen, my name is Hassani.
I'm Gonzalez.
And my name is Roland.
Yeah, let's try that again. My name is Hassani.
I'm Gonzalez.
And my name is Roland.
Here we go. And we are the Couples Academy practitioners, and we're here this morning to dive into a conversation that we've started on last week. We've been talking about why I cheated on my partner. We did a part 1, we did a part 2. We're diving into part 3 because it's too comprehensive to be able to zip through in a 25-30 minute show. So we're going to take our time with this because these are the things that many of you are struggling with. These are the reasons why people come to Couples Academy to get the help that they need. And on that note, I want to make a quick announcement. As you know, we've been talking about this every single day that we're on this show, that the Last Chance Weekend is coming up. That's right. This weekend, November the 11th through the 13th, and of course, December the 9th through the 11th. It's not too late. We actually are getting phone calls and text messages all the way up into the day. So if you haven't booked it yet, there's still room for you. I always, from time to time, like to give a fresh perspective from a couple who's experienced an intensive. We had a private marriage intensive this week. It was very powerful. We got a lot of breakthrough, but I want to hear from a couple who's gone through an intensive some time ago. Hear from them, because sometimes, you know, when you hear the testimonies and the transformation that others have gone through, it gives you hope and inspiration in terms of what you can do for your life and your marriage. So check this out.
Hello, I'm Sabrina Lambert from Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm her husband, Charles Lambert from Indianapolis, Indiana.
We decided to do our testimonial today to let you know it's all worth coming down to Atlanta with Hassani and Danielle to get the help and get the tools that you really need to make it work and last. And was hesitant at first, but I'm glad that we made that decision to come this way. We got the tools that we needed. It was hard work,
yes,
many hours,
yes,
but we got the tools that we need to go forward when we return home. And it set some things straight for me to feel comfortable with understanding how to forgive my husband,
yes,
as well as forgive myself and move forward in a true and genuine way in forgiveness. And knowing that it takes genuine forgiveness to move forward in our marriage to make it last. So I encourage you, if you are struggling to understand your personality, the when, the why, the how things have happened in your marriage, this is where you need to be.
Sonny and Danielle, very helpful. So like my wife said, if you need the help, the professional help, to come and visit them here in Atlanta, beautiful country. They will do you right, and your marriage will benefit from all the expertise that they have to get through the troubled times. And I know for me and Sabrina that we are on the right path now for success. Thank you.
That's right. Much like 95% of the couples who come, there's been some type of betrayal, some breach of trust, and people are coming to figure out how to restore it, how to get the tools, how to forgive oneself, how to forgive their spouse, how to believe that God will forgive them. And so, listen, if that's you, if you're on the fence, if you're struggling, trying to figure out how we're going to get over this hump, you need to come out to a Last Chance Weekend. We're having one this weekend. You need to be there. So make sure you register. But we're talking about the topic today, why I cheated on my partner. We've gone through a number of them, and we were able to have some heavy conversations. Like, truth be told, right? The affair, whoever is engaged in the affair, they are 100% responsible for their actions. But as we've talked about in the past, there are contributing factors to it, right? There are pressures, there are situations and circumstances that can create a vulnerability in a relationship for a person to do such a thing. And so we were talking about what role each partner played in that dynamic. But we're going to continue in this conversation and really zone back in on the unfaithful partner, because a lot of it, truth be told, is what's going on inside of him or going on inside of her that needs to be addressed and resolved. So we're going to dive right into today's topic. The point that we want to focus on today, we'll see how far we go with that, is this. I had a hidden addiction with a compulsion to sexually act out. Now, I want you to pay attention to the wording. I had a hidden addiction, doesn't say sex addiction, a hidden addiction with a compulsion to sexually act out. I think the challenge is most people, we use words and terms too carefree. Like we're quick to call somebody a narcissist. We're quick to say somebody has a sex addiction. And just because someone is involved in a sexual affair or with multiple sexual partners, it doesn't mean that the addiction that they struggle with is sexual. There are many other addictions that exist, and we're going to take our time and unpack that today. But let's start off with the first one, the sex addict, the sexual addiction. It's a sexual compulsion. And with this type of compulsion, it simply means that, you know what, I have an insatiable desire, a thirst that cannot be quenched, a hunger that cannot be satisfied. And either A, I'm not getting enough from my partner because we're not having sex, or maybe I'm getting a ample supply, but even with all that I'm getting, I want more, right? I want more. So if I can't get more from my partner, I'm going to seek out more in others because it's an internal struggle that I'm battling with. So guys, let's talk about the sex addict and what impact that has on the individual struggling with this addiction and how it spills out and negatively impacts the marriage. So start with you, Roland. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the fact of the matter is, a lot of times what we do is we take stuff like this, like the sex addict, and we overcompensate for other things that may be going on. And we find ourselves in situations where we want more, we want more. We live in a society that enough is just still never enough. And we can get all that we need at home. We can get all that we want at home, but still we want more. We want more. And instead of us focusing on our own home space, our own home front, what happens is we allow things from childhood to rise up. We allow things from media, social media to rise up. We allow things in our mind, these fantasies, our imaginations to continue to kind of play. And instead of us addressing them, they fester and fester and fester, and addictions become overbearing when they're not addressed. We gotta have more. We gotta have more. I gotta do more. I gotta have it. I gotta have it. And we're not focusing on the root cause of I can have my wife as much as I want. I could create new spaces with her, but we just continue to want to go off. We gotta find ways to we want notches on our belt. It's an addiction that it festers if we don't address it head on.
Good point. What are your thoughts, sir? Gonzalez?
When he talked about fantasies, is just like he said, the engaging of wanting the want more from childhood. I remember growing up seeing pornography at an early age. That was the root. So from pornography, looking at it at a young age, you grow up as a teen wanting to experiment. As a teen, you jump into an adult, and it carries over into wanting more and more and more of the same. And it's like, whether it's pornography, whether it's gambling, whether it's alcoholism, an addiction rises from, and you're being taught or shown as an early child what they are, but you don't realize as you get older, it becomes a problem. And then when you look back, you see that the problem was in, the generational curses that have to be broken, because now you don't even know where it came from as a child, but now as a man, you got to put away those childish things. So it's all in all, where you got to know where your root comes from your addiction and cut it off.
So parents, this is really an important conversation because many of you have children, right? And so maybe they're teens, maybe they're preteens or even younger. And these devices, I tell you, these devices, boy, they can be such a entry into a world that is salacious, is sinful, is oversaturated with sexual content. And to your point, once that seed is deposited, it can oftentimes create a curiosity. And so, whether it's leading to excessive masturbation or whether
Mhm.
it's leading to getting together and playing games, right? You know, the games that you played when you were a kid, spin the bottle and all types of things. And from one thing to another, it's deep because as the generations continue to come in, sex is more cavalier, more casual. It's no big deal. There's no value placed on it. It's been cheapened through pornography. And so, to your point, Gonzalez, if you've had such a view and relationship with sex prior to marriage and you don't hold it in high regard and high esteem and don't realize that it's a gift designed for those within the confines of marriage, then you get married and say I do, you still have the same mentality regarding sex. And so it's no big deal. She's attractive. He's attractive. Why not? Because that's how I function and prior to the marriage. Why should it be any different within my marriage? And so, to your point, I mean, it's a root from the childhood that's developed over time, and you've gotten caught up in a pattern of behavior that has not been broken. And the generational curse is real because if I saw my dad with girly magazines, maybe I don't have magazines because I got the internet. So it's just a lot easier. But that keeps passing down from one person to the next, and then all of a sudden, boom, here we are in a situation. And this is damaging because the betrayed spouse thinks that they're not doing something. They're in competition with some sexy image, or they're in competition with some sexual performance that you're seeing in video. And because they can't perform the way the woman or the man can perform in the video, now it creates insecurities within them, poor body issues within them, and then the cycle continues. So this is a part of the sex addiction that we're talking about. Great point. But there are other forms of addictions that I definitely want to talk about. Like, for instance, it's not just sex, guys. It's not just sex. Some people are addicted to the in love feeling. Let's talk about that, because that in love feeling is always at the beginning of any relationship, right? When you have infatuation and this high urge and passion for a person, but the longer you're together, that feeling is no longer as strong or as intense. And when you no longer feel the way you once felt, you question, do I really love her? Does he or she really love me? Is this really worth it? And now, because you're addicted to the feeling that you no longer have in the marriage, you pursue that feeling with other people. And when you have that feeling with somebody else, this is the way it's supposed to be. This is the right thing. And so you justify your bad behavior because of that feeling. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thing is, it's no satisfaction. It's selfish, because when you are trying to find that feeling, you're not being satisfied. So you go chase the feeling elsewhere. And when somebody satisfy that void, then you run with it until it becomes stale. And then once it becomes stale, then you find something else fresh in another relationship, or an emotional affair. Then the cycle continues, because you're chasing for something to satisfy your palate, you would say, of the ego.
I think what you're saying is true. It's just like an addict, a drug addict. Like, nothing is as powerful as that first hit. And you're still chasing that high. So you got to do more drugs to get that same high. And to your point, when we connect with somebody else, we have that high, but it lasts for a moment and then it phases. And then we search out that high again, lasts for a moment and then it phases. And then it's a trap. It's a cycle. Roland, what are your thoughts?
Well, because we don't understand the purpose of our relationships, because we don't understand the purpose of one another, what we tend to do is fall in and out of love. You know, I get a pair of shoes and I really love them, but then after a while, after I worn them a couple times, I don't really like that pair anymore. So then what I have to do, I have to go buy another pair of shoes, right, that I'm going to really like and really love. And then what tends to happen is we let things pile up, because we're still, to your point, looking for that new feeling, that exciting feeling, that new car feeling. And it festers. A lot of this stuff festers. And back to Gonzalez's point, because we're so selfish, instead of us putting the work into our relationships, instead of us falling in love every day, instead of us having that feeling every day from our spouses, we find ourselves looking for it elsewhere. And then we find ourselves in situations that we shouldn't be in.
Situations. And yes, it's true. This high, this emotional high, it really speaks to a question that was just asked by Jess. And he says, in essence, do you believe that there is a real thing such as emotional cheating? Are people making it up? No, that's exactly what we're talking about right now. It is an emotion that you're searching for and a connection that you can have with someone else outside of your marriage because you didn't put up proper boundaries and borders. We know that the foundation of all communication is intimacy. Intimacy. And when you're sharing your heart and sharing your mind and sharing your feelings and sharing your emotions, you can become entangled. Remember, I think that term came out by Jada Pinkett. I had an entanglement. Well, oftentimes people have emotional entanglements that can result in something sexual. So an emotional affair is real, and it is just as damaging, if not more, than an actual physical affair. Guys, we're talking about why I cheated on my spouse. We're going to continue in this conversation right on the other side of this break. Stay right there.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
When 45 men from all walks of life come together in one place for one purpose, there is a collective harmony that produces an amplification of power that leaves an impact on the lives of men that cannot be erased. A fraternity of legendary men, all at the tipping point, on the precipice of greatness, meeting for one weekend to turn their worlds inside out. For the first time ever, the Foundry Experience. Not an event, not a seminar or retreat, but an opportunity to come face to face with the man you were always destined to be. If you want a life that's better than the one that you are living, meet us January 2023 for the Foundry Experience.
Welcome back, folks. You are watching the Couples Academy show, and you have just a few of the supermen of Couples Academy. And hey, listen, you guys just saw the commercial for the Foundry Experience coming in January. Any man under the sound of my voice, I'm telling you, you want to be about it and not just hear about it. You want to be in the building in January. We only have 5 spots left, and you still have time to get your spot in. I'm telling you, we have an amazing cast of things that's going to be going on. We have people that's going to be pouring into us as men. We know the ladies, they always have their thing. They always have their girl nights and their time away. But this is the time for men to come together, to bond with one another, to have our own space, to be vulnerable, be transparent, and also to solidify some things that we need help with. Every man needs a man. And we're going to have a group of men come together from all over the world. Trust me, I am telling you, literally, all over the world, guys are coming in to share in this experience, and I would caution you to do the same. Don't wait. You need to get in. Call me for your spot.
Yes, get it, get it, get it. And I just want to encourage people. People's idea of a retreat is okay. We're going to have these sessions and these workshops, and we're going to be taking notes, and I guess we'll get some points, and we'll eat a couple meals, and then we'll go back home. And though that will happen, we do things in a completely different way. It is experiential. They're going to be experiential learning exercises and bonding like you've never seen before, and just transformational experiences that will cause you to go back completely different than the way that you came. And so if you're willing to open yourself up to an opportunity for the purpose of stepping up and stepping into the greatness that God has called you into, you want to be there for the Foundry Experience. Every man who's ever done Foundry, you need to be there. If you have not done Foundry, but you're interested, this could be your introduction into the world of Foundry, where we train men how to be the man that God has called them to be. So register today. As he said, there's 5 slots left. It's going to be filled up, I know, in the next 2 weeks. And so we're excited about it. All right, let's get back into this conversation. We're talking about the reason why I cheated on my spouse, and we're talking about the hidden addictions. I want to talk about the addiction of excitement. Now, think about it. When you are in an affair, it's naughty. It's something that you shouldn't be doing. You're constantly on the lookout. You're operating in a very secretive, clandestine way. That creates an excitement. Right? It's a high intensified excitement when you don't know if you're going to get caught and you're doing all you can. And so that excitement element that you have in an affair is the same element that you had in the beginning of your relationship, when things were new, when things were fresh, when you were getting to know each other, when you wanted to spend all your time with each other, you were dating and dressing up for each other and smelling good and going to wonderful places and experiencing new things. It was exciting. That was one of the things that really drew you in and wooed you about your partner. But then normalcy sets in, and then we become complacent. And then, as they say, monogamy leads to monotony. We don't date anymore. We don't dress up anymore. And I'm longing for excitement, because every day feels like the same day. And if this affair can bring me excitement, I'm willing to risk it all. I'm willing to do what I know I shouldn't for the feeling that I'm searching for. Let's talk about that excitement element and how that could be a very tempting thing that has drawn so many people out into full-blown affairs. Gonzalez, what are your thoughts?
The excitement, again, it's the same high. It's the same high. You cannot get enough as far as the want. It's like candy to a child. Once you give it to them, they want more. They want more. They want more. They keep going after the same thing. So that excitement does not wear off until there's a disconnect. Separate from, the spouse, you want that attention. You're seeking that attention. Again, that excitement is satisfying. So when you're satisfied, you become full. And as you become full, you rest assured, you relax, you take it in, you absorb it. Then once you need a refill, you go back and get some more. And that excitement does not wear off until there's a disconnect, whether there's a conviction or there's a need for change. But the addiction of the excitement still remains, because it's a high. The adrenaline is so high that you cannot get enough. You want more. There's a constant thought that carries over day to day, day to day, day to day. But when you're in a blah situation, you run into the excitement, because that's more fulfilling.
What happens is sin begets sin, wrong begets wrong. Right. And so while we're talking about one addiction attaches itself to another addiction. So now we've gone from the addiction of, sex, having sex addiction, to the need for attention. So now we have an attention addiction. Now we have a need of new addiction. Everything leads to something else. You go down this spiral, and the spiral is going down, and we don't even realize how much that preparation we're putting ourselves in, because we want more. We want this high. We want this feeling. We want to be seen. We want so much, right? We want. But what we need to do is focus on ourselves, focus on our marriages, focus on the things that matter, because otherwise we're going to find ourselves in a constant state of want, in a constant state of having this feeling that will never be satisfied, because it is not right. It is a wrong feeling to have. right? It's one thing to have a feeling about your spouse that is addictive, right? I want my wife to be addicted to me. I want to be addicted to my wife. I want to become addictive, right, to my wife. But I don't want to become addicted outside of the home. And as long as we continue to look for things outside of the home, you'll be able to find wrong outside of wrong. But again, wrong begets wrong, sin begets sin, and you find yourself compiling, right? Then your baggage that you're carrying, you're wondering why it's so heavy, and you don't realize it. But when you get used to it, it feels light, and now you're walking around with baggage that's unnecessary.
Yeah, yeah. So we're talking about new, the addiction to new, the addiction to excitement, the addiction to the in love feeling, the addiction to sex. Like all of these are hidden addictions that result in an affair. And the message that we want to leave you with is there's nothing wrong with desiring new, excitement, the in love feeling, or sex. The problem is we are seeking these things outside of our marriage because there are issues that exist within the marriage that has caused these things to no longer be on the forefront of our relationship. So whatever the issue is, this is exactly why you want to get the help that you need, because all these things that you're searching for, you once had, which proves that you can have it, you can experience it, you can get it again. You just have to unearth the issues, resolve them, and get things back on track. So new and different is not a problem as long as you experience it within the confines of your marriage. At the end of the day, I just celebrated my 20th. You know, I know that you just had your anniversary recently, Gonzalez, I believe. Yours is coming up shortly, Roland. And with every new year, there should be a new focus, a new energy, a new connection, something that you're searching for that is extremely different within the confines. And so having an affair with your spouse would be better than having an affair on your spouse. So I just need you to know that it's possible, that no matter how dark your situation may be, no matter how hopeless you may feel, no matter how disconnected you may currently be, you can turn all of these things around and begin to experience it within the realm of your relationship. But it requires a mindset shift. It requires getting help. It requires doing something different to get different results. That's what we're talking about today. Why I cheated on my spouse. Our time is up, but we're going to step into the next part tomorrow because we're going to dive into another area, another lane. Now, I see your questions, guys. We don't have a chance to answer all your questions. I want to get to one of them. Dark Knight says something, and I'm hearing you, man. You've been saying this for a while. I'm seriously interested in being a part of the Foundry. I definitely need help with my self-image. Admittedly, it's not where I'd like for it to be right now, and everything around me is suffering. So we've said countless times, click the link and let's get involved. We've said, reach out to us, set up a discovery call. Let us help you. We can see that you're crying out, that you're longing for help, that you want something more, that you want something different. Let's make the connection. There's the number right there, my brother, 678-200-8996. Let's make this happen. And for all those other questions, we will get to those, but we want to let you know that we love you, we appreciate you, and we will see you tomorrow for another phenomenal episode. Take care.